Hello and welcome back in, everyone, to another Parvision collab for chapter 1064 of One Piece. If you don't know myself, I am Sai. I am the owner of this channel, and along with me today we have the wealthy businessman Parvision. Parvision, do you want to introduce yourself if anybody doesn't know you?
I will. Hold on. Why are we saying what kind of introduction?
I'm trying to make you seem really cool, Par. We have the Elon Musk of America. All right, Par, you want to introduce yourself just in case they don't know who you are?
I'm a very new YouTuber. I just, like Sai here, just crossed 30,000 subs. I'm not near that. So, like, shout outs to Sai for being such a generous person and bringing a small time YouTuber onto his channel every week. Very great situation we got going on here. If you guys don't know, me and Sai have a committed relationship, and we had a theory baby last week, and that theory baby was born right here this time last week, and that latest video is posted on the channel. I don't know, I might have another video by the time this gets posted, but you can watch that one. I think it makes reading One Piece a little bit more enjoyable, reading with the context of I mean, it's not spoiling, because if you watched it last week, then essentially the theory is that stronger is rocks. And so if that's like confusing to you, go watch that video, because I guarantee you by the end of it, you might be thinking like
you'll be a changed man.
Yeah, like a small port. Even if you're a pessimist, even if you're not a pessimist, a doubter, the theory, prior to the theory, it was like 0% chance that stronger is rocks. After the video, there's gonna be a percentage. I guarantee you. And
even if it's a 1%, like it's something.
Yeah, and 1064 does not change that. Even if you read it and you're like, he can't be that. But yeah, 1064, we'll talk about it.
To hop right into the chapter of 1064, we have Stronger, who just died. Just kidding. No, so 1064, we'll start with the cover page. We have the title of the chapter, which is Egghead's Research Stratum. And then on there, we have Germa 66's Emotionless Excursion, Volume 22, with Kuzan and Van Augur kidnapping Pudding. And then we have a random Blackbeard pirate in the background cheering along. And at this point in time, who do you think is the one that froze Chocolate Town?
I mean...
I'm kidding.
I was like, wait, hold on.
You will not believe how many people, like, in the last chapter were still like, yo, like, it's not Aokiji, let me tell you. Like, they're rubbing their hands like, yo, this has got to be somebody else. Like, Blackbeard stole that devil fruit. But lo and behold, it is 1,000% confirmed Aokiji is the one who did it. And he does, like you said in your live stream, he has a change of clothes. And it looks like he actually is, like, a part of the Blackbeard crew. Because even Luffy's Grand Fleet don't wear straw hats. They don't wear, like, anything that even resembles Luffy. But here we have Aokiji sporting the blackened coat, the blackened cap, pretty much saying, like, hey, I am a Blackbeard pirate. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, just now in this conversation, it's almost like how the straw hats and the law kid, they all infiltrated Onigashima by wearing the Beast Pirate outfit. And it's like, this is a similar situation where it's like, we talked about how Aokiji, he being a part of the Blackbeard Pirates, like, it's a partnership or an alliance. It's not an underling thing. But this outfit
seeing the clothes, man.
Yeah, this is different, because it's like
wearing the maid outfit.
Yeah, because like King and Queen, they didn't wear Beast Pirate clothing per se, right? Like the upper levels of, you can't really tell. Not that there's not like a synergy in the thematic that Oda creates, but there's definitely a difference there. Fodder gets similar clothing. Not saying that this is fodder clothing, but this is like a guy joining like a book club or something, and he's just like, hey guys, I'm here, like I'm part of this, like a uniform kind of thing. And it's kind of weird. It's weird to me, because like Aokiji Kuzan had great drip on his own, and now he's swapping it over to look like Van Augur's
twin. He wore the drip for one chapter, then he switched it up.
Yeah,
the man changed drips.
It's not, I don't know. It's weird. And like the other thing that I'm thinking about is like maybe Kuzan is just like, this is how I infiltrate. This is how I become one with them.
Yeah.
Like, and meaning so that he has an agenda outside of it, and he's trying extra hard to feel like, you know, hey guys, look, I'm wearing the same clothes as you guys. I can't be a bad person.
I'm kidnapping girls. Vasco shot senpai. Love me.
Yeah. Instead of, I was saying like, I can't be a bad person. No, like, I am a bad person. Look at me. I'm dressing just like you. You know, like that kind of thing.
I say this every week, so it is kind of repetitive, but I really do believe Aokiji or Kuzan is still a good guy. Deep down, he is still a good guy. Everybody says he hasn't changed. He's still kind-hearted. I mean, Sengoku literally believed in him to become Fleet Admiral. He will not just turn tail and become a Blackbeard pirate and start murdering people and helping Blackbeard get the One Piece. I don't believe it, and I still believe he, deep down, will still help the good guys in the end.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the Sengoku point is the main one, right? Like,
yeah,
a character like that doesn't just flip on its head like that, you know?
Yeah, it's like Luffy looking at somebody and calling them a good guy, and then they actually stab Luffy in the back. Like, there's the chances of that are happening are very little.
Yeah.
So, moving on to the chapter, though, we have Blackbeard. Like, we're continuing the law fight, which is kind of mind-blowing, because I was at least like 70% convinced that this would be off-screened. But Oda said, nope, not this time. We are giving him the full ace treatment and showing you guys what is going down. And we see Blackbeard utilizing the Guru no Mi. And interestingly enough, I think I watched your live stream when you said it, but I'm not too sure if this is just the Guru no Mi effects or if this is actually Conqueror's Haki coming into play. But he does have like the black lightning coming out of his fist. But that could just be depicted as, you know, him cracking the air. We're not too sure until we actually see it animated or officially colored. But yeah, he is cracking the air, lo and behold. And Law, during all of this, is ordering his crew to get in position, which is something I did not expect. Because even last chapter, his crew kind of seemed like background characters. But here you can see that Law is ordering them around. Law is using Awakening. And Shachi and Penguin are getting into position. What are your thoughts on all this?
I mean, from this first page, it's like, this is not, none of this is what I expected per se.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I thought Law's first move is like, okay, how do I get these fools to safety? Right? So even this is like, what, you expect them to do something? Like, what? And then, you know, Blackbeard running in the way he was, that part is expected. I think the crackling, that thing, like you're saying, I don't even know if I trust the anime to get that right, honestly, because like I went back and looked at like chapter 576 or I forget where exactly, 577, around there, we get some instances of Whitebeard and Blackbeard using the fruit, the Guru fruit. And it was shown so differently then. I mean, that was a long time ago, so obviously things are going to look different. The cracking is similar drawn, but whenever we see it, it's like Blackbeard will hit something and then it'll like shatter the sky or shatter like the air around it. Whereas this is being shown like in his hand. It almost looks like he's grabbing it. Yeah, exactly. And so I don't know, like, is this Oda showing us he has conquerors? Because if it were, I feel like every time that like a main character like this gets conquerors or shown to us, someone, the other character that they're using it against, someone who like experiences top level powers, are like, oh my god, that's the power of a conqueror. Or like the fodder will say that. Yes, it always gets like mentioned slightly when it's debuted in this way. And I feel like it's weird if this is, we're just supposed to look at this and be like, yep, that's Conquerors, and then we just like move on, you know, especially given how Conquerors is built up to be like one of the main powers, right?
Yeah, I feel that too, and that's why I am leaning towards this being just the Devil Fruit rather than Conqueror's Haki in general. And even if Blackbeard does have Conqueror's Haki, I wouldn't be super shocked, right?
Yeah,
he's shown to have Ultimate Haki. I think him, one of the major players in the world, having Conquerors wouldn't be too far of a stretch.
Right.
So yeah, Blackbeard comes down, he tries to slam them with his Guru no Mi, and then Law, right off the bat, uses his Awakening and uses Amputate to cut Stronger in half. And my heart's still reeling when I saw this, man. I mean, obviously, Stronger is going to survive. He's not done. He's not eliminated from the series, but he's definitely done for the fight, right?
Yeah, so that was one thing that like was really confusing here with the re-room. He used the re-room, and I guess like last time he used the re-room silence, and this is re-room amputate.
Yeah.
And like our understanding at the moment is he throws his re-room onto somebody that's not over him, and then he can just affect the area within it, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And so like even then, like Blackbeard's within range. Like, why didn't he just do his normal room, just expand it out and cut him? And like, regardless of which way, it's crazier that he used his awakening already, because it's like, when I looked at this, I didn't even realize that he used his awakening, because I was like, why would he need to? He's done this before without his awakening. This is a very interesting instance that we're seeing. But in terms of the Stronger part, yeah, he could be out for the count. That's fine. Like I think when you're saying reeling.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, it's because Stronger's like out, you know, like after this portion here, Stronger is not shown for the rest of the chapter.
But
like the guy's actually MIA.
Meaning like in the context of the theory baby, right? Like that's what's it's a little bit hurtful.
A little bit, but more so like, man, I was kind of expecting Stronger to show out, you know, like at least attack a heart pirate, or maybe even show us what the Pegasus fruit is all about. But no, like he was like, he got cut and he's out of the picture. But I guess the same could be said for some of Law's crew, or even some of Blackbeard's crew, because Burgess isn't here. Beppo doesn't really do a whole bunch. Penguin is kind of out there. Hakuba takes care of the ship, and then he's not really seen again. So
Wait,
it's not too surprising. Or Hakugan.
Hakugan, yeah. I was
Hakugan, my bad.
I was like, Cavendish is here. That's crazy.
Yeah, not Hakuba, Hakugan. Very similar. They wear a mask. It's all good. But yeah, I mean, like,
with me, I feel like those things, the things that were taken out, right? Like, I mean, the first thing that I thought when I realized that Burgess wasn't shown in at all, I was like, Beppo wasn't shown at all. So then it's Beppo versus Burgess off screen.
No.
That's gonna be animated, and that'll make Beppo's stocks finally go up. If he
Beppo stops are trash.
If he
I believe
actually
in Beppo.
fights Burgess and like clashes with him,
oh my god,
that's next level.
Dude,
that is next level.
So I always said that Beppo is going to do something. Beppo has a Sulong form that's very strong. Beppo is, you know, martially combat techniqued up. I don't even know how to say it, but
yeah,
Beppo is going to be up there. He's going to do something. But there's no way he's taking on Burgess one-on-one, bro. Like,
Burgess
come on.
with the strong fruit, too.
The strong fruit.
Bro, and we just saw him lift a mountain.
Even, like, fighting in Wano.
Yeah, and he's running from water, and which is a crazy contrast, given the rest of his crew are basically just Aquaman.
Yeah.
And then there's Beppo, and he hasn't done anything. But then it's like, if Burgess isn't doing anything and Beppo isn't doing anything, you'd think that they're doing something together, right?
Nah, Burgess is picking up a mountain. That's all it is. He's winding up the charge. Beppo is, I don't know, playing with his ears or something.
What I will say, though, is with the Stronger part, the way I see it is he has a mythical zone. We can't discount that. And the reason why I'm pointing that out is because Oda decided to go a route to take him out of the picture as soon as possible so that he couldn't show off anything.
Literally first page.
And when not just in One Piece, but typically when that's done, that's to hide something. Why even have this setup like in the first place where Stronger's put in this position, given the mythical zone, and then taking out we ended last chapter, mythical zone Stronger, last page. We open next chapter, completely gone. I get it, the comedic effect, but mythical zones. That's what Luffy has. That's what Kaido has. That's what Marco has.
During Oda's Road to Laugh-Tale, he even said mythical zones have an additional power alongside their Zoan fruit. Luffy has the properties of rubber. Marco can heal people. Kaido, you know, is this crazy dragon that can shoot fire and do all these crazy windstorms. I feel like there is a deep meaning I agree with you. I agree that there's a deep meaning as to why they took out Stronger in the very beginning. He's hiding something. I just feel it in my bones.
Yeah, it's like this also just feels like an anime trope, right? Like you add all the different things together. The main one that struck a chord with a lot of the viewers of the theory that I posted, and then like when you first thought of it and you saw it, it was the name Stronger, right? Like the name Stronger is just like, especially with Oda, it's like that kind of says something, right?
Yeah.
We just don't give people names like that and then do this. And it could be a meme, right? It could be, his name is Stronger.
He could be weak.
Yeah, it could be, but for the mythical, it's so weird to me.
Mythical Zoan, Blackbeard's crew, slated to be one of the final villains of One Piece. Like, is he really weak though? Like, is he actually weak?
And again, I go back to the Naruto example, and I'm not gonna like spoil. I mean, this channel is a spoiler thing.
Spoil it, bro. Like, it has been 10 years. If anybody hasn't caught up with Naruto Shippuden, like, you deserve to be spoiled. I'm not gonna lie.
We're on your channel. We're on your channel. This is
you're on the spoiler channel. You know what's going on.
Yeah. So the Katsuki, right? Like,
it's not even Boruto. It's Naruto Shippuden.
Yeah. So and this is like the first act of Shippuden too. It wasn't
in the very beginning, not even the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. So the Akatsuki, right? For the longest time, we thought the leader of it was Pain. Pain was like out here, like in the background of all the meetings, and that's what Blackbeard is here. This super calculated, telling everyone what to do, all that stuff. And Toby, underneath the Akatsuki umbrella, was masquerading as this bumbling buffoon who's like an apprentice, essentially. I forget who he was apprenticing and following, but he was apprenticing
Deidara.
Yeah, and that person was just like, kind of like, he understood that Toby was strong, but not really like the full grasp of everything. And Toby went out of his way to make himself a goofier character, changing his voice, had a whole persona, fumbled a few situations. There was key situations where he showed out, but it wasn't until later to build up this like, the Katsuki is just like, he's a low ranking member.
Yeah.
But then lo and behold, we find out
Endgame villain, bro.
Yeah,
Obito,
he was
best character.
Yeah, and Obito being a character that was with like the previous generation, similar with Rocks, that was tied to the ancient generation, which was like Madara and stuff like that. So like that's a similar situation here where it's like if Rocks is the previous generation, that connects there, and then Rocks having knowledge or whatever connection to the previous thing, there we go. We have the exact parallel here. And it's in a situation where it's like the 10th Titanic captain, it's like, who could it be for us to want to wait a reveal for?
Yeah,
right?
It's either a Rouge, it's Weevil. Like, come on, like, who's it really? Like, Stronger would be the craziest reveal.
Yeah, and it'd be the comedic way that Oda would do it too, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, Stronger's the 10th Titanic captain. That's why we hit it this whole time. And it's like, wait, what the Stronger is Rocks?
And
like,
I just gotta say it right here. Like, all of the big three, we have Naruto, we have Bleach. They both did it. They both followed this trope. And even Bungo Stray Dogs, which isn't in the big three, a lot of animes do have this thematic. You mentioned Obito. In Bleach, it's Yami. Yami was a bumbling buffoon. In the Espada, he was ranked number 10 in terms of strength, and then he transforms and he's number 0. He is a tower above all the other ones. Granted, I don't think he was that strong if you read Bleach, but that's besides the point. He was number 0. Stronger, being actually strongest out of the Blackbeard crew, isn't too crazy of a stretch.
Yeah. And again, I think that the part of it's like, we got last chapter, it was given the largest text, mythical zone, and then the next chapter, hey, we can't show too much, so let's get rid of him.
What is Stronger gonna do? Well, I mean, he's incapacitated. Come on, guys, come on. Forget about Stronger. Don't worry about it.
So that's us putting the theory out there.
Yeah,
but I think
that is just a crazy theory, but I am all aboard for that one.
Yeah, that one is definitely one of the ones that I feel like you said earlier, I forget if it was on call or on my stream, where it's like, I'm okay with staking a little bit of my soul into this one because
yeah.
if it's not true, sure, Aokiji or Kuzan 10th, whatever. But this one would be cool. This one would be so cool.
This one is a cool theory. This is I feel that. I am willing to stake a portion of my being onto this theory. Either Stronger or Hattori from CP0 is a person.
Yeah.
Saying it right now. Just want to put the chips on the table.
I
agree. Stronger gets cut. Blackbeard goes through with his attack. The shockwaves are attacking all the heart pirates. And then we see Doc Q tossing his famous bomb apples, which for some reason is just, it's a common thing in One Piece world. Like we have the heart pirates saying, whoa, God, they're apple bombs, guys, take cover. Like, do you think about this for a second? Like, people are like, yo, like, those are apple bombs. Like, we gotta watch out.
Yeah, no, when I was live reacting, I was like, wait, how do they know that these are bombs? Like, is this just that common?
Do you think it's part of the reason why we didn't get Doc Q's wanted poster is because that is his title, like the Apple Bomber?
Wait, no, we have his title. His title
is the Reaper, right?
Yeah, it's the Reaper. But
hey, it could be the Apple Bomber.
There's
could change it.
There's like a byline underneath it. Watch out for his apples. Like,
yeah, watch out for the apples. His wanted poster is a giant apple or something.
Yeah, because like I'm thinking about this, like if this were Luffy, right? Luffy is facing him. Yeah. Luffy would jump up and eat them, right? Like he'd be like, "Oh, apples, great!" And then like it would take Sanji or Zoro to like jump in the way and grab Luffy.
Yeah, even though Luffy's seen it before, he's like,
"Yeah,
come on."
Yeah, it would probably be Zoro because Zoro was with him when that happened on Jaya, and he was like, "You idiot!" And then Luffy's like, well, "I was hungry," and then for these guys to be like, "Oh, they're apple bombs, take cover." I'm like, what? How many times have you experienced this? This is so awful.
So the reason why I'm saying that it must be associated with this wanted poster is because Law last chapter did mention like, whoa, like that explains why the devil fruits explain why their bounties have been increasing. So they have been keeping tabs on the Blackbeard pirates.
It's true.
So maybe Doc Q is known for his apple bombs, which, I mean, another Bungo Stray Dogs reference here, but there's a character in that anime or manga who only uses lemon bombs. So just throwing it out there. But yeah, so the apple bombs get tossed. Shachi, a heart pirate that not a lot of people remember significantly, jumps in the water and shoots out water blasts at the bombs and explodes them. Did you expect this? Did you read this chapter and said, well, yeah, of course, it's Shachi. Of course he can do this.
No, I'm going to be honest. I think like every page of this chapter was just like, huh? Like, what?
What's
like,
going
yeah,
on
because like I was about to say the apple part wasn't even the craziest thing because then I didn't even get a chance to like breathe before Oda just showed me that. Like,
oh my gosh.
There's just a whole new like race in One Piece, and then spoilers for the rest of the chapter. But
gets crazier and crazier.
But like
this chapter is wicked.
This is me. I have elemental Haki theory. I just put out a theory about like dragon fishmen and other fishmen and more characters in One Piece being fishmen. And even with all of that, I don't know what's going on here. Like, I don't like, is he a fishman? Is he a mink? Like on my stream, I explained the whole mink theory, the whale mink thing, because that's the only race a whale could be probably. But like this still just doesn't make sense with that. Like he just swallowed up the water and then became Squirtle and just had like a bubble beam blast. And it's like,
bro, the most craziest thing about this is that Shachi has the audacity to say it's a big mistake to underestimate us when we grew up in the harsh, cold waters of the North Blue. Like, what does that mean? We grew up in the North Blue, so we all know how to blow bubbles. Like, we can shoot some massive water bubbles your way. Like, what does the North Blue have anything to do with this, bro?
Yeah.
Like, where did this come from? That's like if I hit you with a Glock, and then I say, well, I grew up in Oklahoma, so you better watch out for this. Like, what does that mean? Like, it has no association with what you just did.
Yeah. I mean, like
I can cook a mean steak, so you better expect the water bubbles. Like
it's funny because like on the live stream, like you pointed out that the North Blue is regarded as the strongest.
Yes.
And so there is that, but then at the same point, it's like if I just like shot somebody, it's like, oh, it's because he's from New York, like he knows his way around guns, and it's like that's not how that works.
That's not how it works, bro. Like just because you're from the North Blue, like a good example, like because you could say like, oh, Par and Sai are memeing. Sanji is from the North Blue. Yes, Sanji is strong, but can Sanji do this? Like no, like Sanji and all of his brothers and sisters are from the North Blue. Law is from the North Blue. Can they do this? The answer is no.
Yeah. It's
So
like,
Shachi attributing the water bubbles to the North Blue it's kind of hilarious. I love it because I'm glad Law's crew is shining, but you have to admit it is kind of funny.
yeah, he goes like, you ain't got a chance against us in a sea battle. I was like, I never knew North Blue was associated with that.
Yeah,
like, is that
sea
how
battles,
you,
bro? Like,
yeah, like,
where
are
is
you
this coming
guys
from?
Did you guys just not know how to make ships and you guys are just fighting in the water? Like,
Yeah,
and then,
these
like,
guys are jumping in.
like, yeah, when we look at them, like, now I'm questioning, like, with my video, I was saying that there's probably more fishermen out there, but now
Yes.
I'm like, is there a higher degree, like, not a higher degree, like, more variations? Like, we have merfolk. I don't know if you knew this is actually a teaser for a future video, but we have Goldfish Empire, where there's a bunch of fish with human faces.
No, Goldfish Empire. That sounds like
Yeah,
a
it's a-
recording studio.
No, that it's a thing. It's a thing.
Yo, shout out to Goldfish Empire, the hottest tracks on the beat.
Yeah, so there's these gold, like these. They
Yeah.
have a princess. They have a princess too. That
Wait, like, is this canon? Or are you?
This
making
is canon.
stuff up?
Hachi saved them. Hachi's save is something. Hachi did something, and they like cheered him on.
Yeah.
You can look up Goldfish Empire. It should show up. So we have fish with human faces. Then we have mermaids with our humans with fish tails. Then we have fishmen, which are like upper body fish, lower body human. And then we have Shachi and Penguin, who are like just normal people, but then they're just what? Torpedoes, essentially. Like, what are they? They're swimming in this water. They're squirtling things. Like, I don't know.
They're kind of expanding their body too. It's not like a human thing to do.
Yeah, they're definitely like I don't even know.
And
like,
I did look up the Goldfish Empire, and it is a cover story.
yeah.
So yeah, this is like totally canon. Like, it could actually be a thing.
Yeah, this is a present to your channel because this is a teaser to a future video. I actually told you the theory. I mean, don't say the theory out loud, but I told you the theory, but I held back this detail for a while.
The Goldfish Empire coming in clutch.
Yeah.
And I mean, if there's one thing that you can take away from this chapter and the last chapter, is to not sleep on cover stories and Oda SBSs. Oda has tied this cover story of Aokiji coming over here and kidnapping Pudding and everything else. And he also tied in the CP0 or CP9 to CP0 transition in the cover story as well. And that has all been canon and made a legitimate appearance in the manga.
To the
And
point.
in the SBS, we have Law being drawn as a female being in last chapter. And then this chapter, young Jinbei and old Luffy, another SBS material being brought into the canon manga. So Oda is not sleeping on this whatsoever. He remembers, he has the Carfax, and he's bringing it up to date.
Yeah, and like the cover story's importance is like to the point where this cover story, I don't even know if this ever happened before with a cover series, a cover story series, where in that chapter it's relevant. Like,
Yeah, no, never.
Like, anime don't do cover stories. So then apparently, so I said this, I was like, so then it feels like after Wano, they're going to space things out by animating the cover stories. And someone in my live chat said that the editors did say that after Wano, they're going to adapt some cover stories. And I was like, whoa, that's
hope so.
crazy.
I really want to see how Bellamy becomes a pirate ship Jolly Roger maker.
A professional dyer side. That's the
Professional dyer, I'm sorry.
yeah,
But there are a lot of cover stories that could become really entertaining filler arcs too. So
yeah,
looking
for
forward
sure.
to that.
For sure.
So yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say in that next line we had a very heated debate about
Oh
Beppo.
my god! Me and Par had the craziest debate on this, which I think Par is kind of silly for this one. I'm not gonna lie.
What?
John Bart. Okay, wait, not John Bart. Beppo says, John Bart, there's a sniper at 3 o'clock. And Beppo is very obviously holding his ears out. And I'm like, yo, Beppo has a really good hearing. Beppo can hear somebody from afar. I do not believe this is observation Haki. 0% chance. If he had it... Okay, if Beppo has observation Haki, I wouldn't be super surprised.
Okay.
But the way this panel is drawn, Beppo has both of his ears out and there's a dialogue, like there's a little, surprise mark above his ears. Beppo is hearing this. This is not observation Haki. It could be, but it is very obviously drawn as Beppo having superior hearing.
And to me, it's like the senses are tied to observation Haki often. And this last chapter, when Luffy saw Kuma coming at him, and he was just like, Kuma's about to run, and then he had the same like spark thingy, and then next chapter it's like Beppo did the same thing. It's like, there's a sniper.
Luffy isn't holding out his ears. Luffy isn't doing this, bro. Imagine Luffy versus Katakuri, but every time Katakuri activates Future Sight, he like tilts his ear a little bit. Bro, that doesn't happen.
Everyone's a little quirky. This is Beppo we're talking about.
Bro,
we know
Beppo's
nothing about
being
Beppo.
Trash.
Okay, and he might think that he needs to do that when he doesn't need to do that. Because the whole overall point is that someone in our chat ended our whole conversation. It's like, guys, Beppo probably just used his goddamn eyes. And then we're like, fair. That he could just look and see.
He could. And that's the thing, too. Like, Beppo, I'm not saying he can't have observation Haki. Like, he should have it. Yeah. As being like a top commander of the Heart Pirates, he should have observation Haki. But the way this panel is drawn, he's not fighting Burgess. The way this panel is drawn, he is very obviously holding out his ears. And you could say, maybe it's just one ear. Maybe he's quirky. He has both of his ears out, bro. Like, come on, that is not a coincidence. And he's not fighting Burgess. The Burgess thing is crazy. So
then where is Burgess? Everyone else is here. It's like, if Beppo's not here and Burgess...
Okay, so do you really think Oda would draw a Shachi panel but not a Burgess panel fighting Beppo? Like Burgess is hiding, bro. Burgess is, I don't know, prepping a mountain.
When have you seen Burgess hide?
A mountain. I said prepping a mountain on the side. He's picking up the entire island. He's doing something. There is no way Beppo is holding his own against Burgess and we don't see it.
Here's a better question. Would you like it if we were shown that and Beppo is actually clashing with Burgess? It would be cool, right?
I would like it. I would like it. I would love if Beppo clashed with Burgess. But if we do see if this crazy scene did exist in One Piece canon, I feel like Oda would actually show us that. Rather than
we might see it. Yeah.
Rather than Shachi and water bullets, and rather than Jean Bart playing defense with Law. And the next part is also crazy because Jean Bart plays defense. Bro, Jean Bart blocks a Van Auger bullet. And granted, Van Auger didn't use his Devil Fruit. We didn't see any Haki in the bullet. So I'm just saying it's a simple bullet. Van Auger wasn't trying. But Jean Bart still blocked it.
This is what we talked about on the live stream, right? I think we just fought for like the last 10 panels on that stream. Bro. But this one is even more interesting because it's like Van Auger was trying to hit Law. Yonko Law, right? He's trying to hit him. He just saw Stronger get sliced in half. He's trying to hit Law, and Jean Bart blitzed in a sniper. In every movie, predicting a sniper shot, that's next level. I'm not saying Jean Bart has observation.
He didn't predict it. Beppo gave him the heads up.
Yeah, but that's even crazier. He heard it, had enough reaction speed to get there. This is some speed feats from the largest man on the crew. And then to be, when we look at him, he's unscathed from the front. Oda didn't even decide to show Van Auger do anything to Jean Bart.
All I gotta say is that Luffy blocked bullets like he's Superman. Jean Bart can at least block one.
Rubber. What do you mean?
Jean Bart can at least block one. So the thing with this is that
but this is the issue. This is the issue with just one. This is Van Auger. Isn't his name a sniper reference?
Bro,
he's the sniper trying to compete with the
bullet had no Haki to our knowledge.
How
he didn't use the warp fruit. Like, come on, like, there's so many things about this. Like, Van Augur ain't trying. He ain't trying.
I mean, we have to figure this one out, right? Can he use the warp fruit like that? Because from this instant, I think this supports that he can't. And then last chapter, it seemed like he was with Burgess, and then like he was on the same like it was him, and then Burgess right behind him, and then he transferred Burgess over, and then here we see, like, instead of like transferring Blackbeard anywhere, he went to Blackbeard himself. So it seems like right now Van Augur's fruit is he has to be either in proximity or he has to touch whatever it is. So the idea that he can like shoot a bullet, warp it to wherever, I don't know if that like plays well anymore.
I think he can still warp a bullet, because I feel like having the need for Van Augur to be in close proximity to something to warp it isn't a huge detriment to his fruit, because, like, okay, let's say he has to be in close proximity to teleport something, right? He could just teleport to close proximity and then teleport you again, like, and if he uses his warp fruit efficiently, it would literally be a millisecond. Like, you wouldn't even be able to react to that. Like, so having him being able to warp bullets shouldn't, or at least to me, it isn't like super far-fetched.
Like, he could shoot the bullet, warp to the bullet, touch it, warp it to the place he wants to go. Like, it could be that kind of like hacked out, right?
Yeah, and I'm cool with that.
Yeah, that's an interesting play.
But, you know, the moral of the story here is that Van Augur ain't trying. He's going for a back shot. He doesn't really care too much. We gotta
wait for the officials, but he did compliment John Bart. He said he's some bodyguard.
He's some bodyguard, but he's not a bodyguard.
To be fair, how many times as a sniper, if they get the shot blocked, they compliment them, right? So he maybe they're rivals now.
And here's the thing, like, they're not rivals. But here's
you were trying to skate past that.
Van Augur only shot one bullet, bro. Like, if he wanted to, he would have shot more.
He's not a machine gun. He's Van Augur the sniper.
Bro, against Ace, he shot like 5 bullets. What are you talking about?
With his pistol, right?
No, with this.
Oh, I thought he like whipped out like a pistol and he was like, pop, pop, pop.
He was going off on Ace, bro. Like, he doesn't really care. Like, he's chilling. He's not trying. It looks like a giant L for the Blackbeard Pirates, but I am on the boat that they're just not trying right now. Like, they haven't whipped out the full force. They're hanging out. They're having fun.
Can we go to the next page and continue this sentiment that you're pushing right now? Like,
all right. Next page, we have Law. I think he's getting absorbed by Blackbeard's Yami Yami no Mi.
Yeah. We just how many pages did you skip to get there? Like, literally 5 pages.
All right. So Law hits Blackbeard with a really nasty shock wheelie, which, you know, granted, Blackbeard didn't see it coming. It was an off-guard attack, unprecedented. But yeah, Law uses his awakening, he uses shock willy, and he does actually massive damage to Blackbeard. Like, Blackbeard is bleeding out of the mouth. Blackbeard does take double damage because of his Yami Yami no Mi. We know that for a fact. And then that is when Van Augur teleports to Blackbeard and asks Blackbeard if they should just go home. Should we return to the ship and should we head out of here? But Blackbeard says, no, we're gonna finish what we started. And to me, this is kind of the line that solidifies that Blackbeard, no matter who shows up, no matter what happens during this fight, he's not going to retreat. Like, he's going to go forward no matter what. So all the theories of people saying, well, Scott Brigabon's going to show up, who knows, Shanks shows up, and then Blackbeard's going to leave. I think that is off of the table with that line. And what is your opinion on that? Well, like, the whole events here?
I think at this point, it'd be okay. So like later on, we find out that we know what island this is, and that's like a small detail that is just makes sense to bring up here. But you know, I think that mentioning the context, like we could have easily not given context to the setting, right? It could have just been a random island. It could have been whatever, but we were given the name. There is a possibility a third party does show up. But I think, like you're saying, it's diminishing at this point. Like in the Amazon Lily situation, it was like Rayleigh shouldn't, like it was such a like a weird twist for all of us. It was a good twist. It was just like none of us at that point like expected that Rayleigh would show up with Shaki on top of that. And then the Seraphims are also there. In this one, it seems like we're getting less plot twists, I guess. Not plot twists, that's not true. More meaning like we're dealing with the situation at hand. It doesn't feel like Oda's going to bring in a third party at the moment, because it's like we just got Law's showcase of his things, his crew, and then like what's next? We're going to get a showcase from Blackbeard's side. Blackbeard's side hasn't gotten like a full showcase like you're saying.
Yeah.
Right? So I do think that this does play out, but I still question, given how we ended things here, I think it does feel like next chapter, like we continue this. It almost feels like that, right?
Yeah. Or at least we see the final attacks. Like Blackbeard versus Ace, where they kind of went all out, and then Ace got a taste of the Yami Yami no Mi, and then they threw the final attacks, and that was all we saw. I think that's what's going to happen here too, if I had to guess.
Yeah, like some like that's the main thing. Like the where we ended with this part, it didn't feel like that Ace Blackbeard level clash. It didn't feel like a clash that you can cliffhanger on. It felt like it felt like a teaser towards something we might get revealed very soon. And I think now that we know that the cover story coincides with this, I would imagine that trend continues. Like the only other things now that I'm wondering is like we saw Kuzan in the cover story with Pudding and Van Augur. Two of those characters are here now. So it's like, where is Kuzan? Like of all the characters to show up, maybe he's one of them. And we still like another character that now that we know that Pudding is imprisoned on the ship, I believe, right? Like that's what it looked like.
Yeah. So she has cuffs on.
So then if she's on the ship, then where's Kobe, right? If Pudding is captured on the ship, then is Kobe on the ship? And if Kuzan comes here, then that's like a variable within the story that that could affect things. I don't know which way that goes, but I think Oda did an amazing job of like fleshing out this stuff, and then also like giving the Heart Pirates some substance. I mean, Beppo is still substanceless, but like, man, Shachi and Penguin showing up like that was surprising. That was definitely surprising.
Yeah, no, it's kind of stupid how they kind of stole the spotlight from this whole chapter in a way.
Yeah,
like during the fight, everybody's like, yo, like that is like shot. Like even I'm still like, yo, Shachi's kind of nuts.
Yeah, like this is like what are they? Like what is this? Is this Aquaman? Are we gonna introduce Atlantis here? Like is Namor coming here? Like
and the thing with Shachi is that like just because he can do this doesn't mean he can like go one-on-one against a Blackbeard commander. That's not really the case, but just having a feat more than fighting beast pirate fodder is a feat, right?
and on top of that, now we understand that this is their comfortable fighting. This is their battleground. In the water versus on land, which is so interesting. And then we add the point that all of Blackbeard's crew are devil fruit users. So at least Shachi and Penguin, at least those two, having this kind of like ability, this move set, I guess, does give them an innate advantage on the surface at least, right?
Yeah.
So, this is heat.
There's a lot to take in here.
Yeah.
So the final couple of clashes, though, we have Law making a very interesting observation because he says, "Hey, all of your officers have devil fruit powers, right? Must be a pretty raw deal hauling around so many anchors." And then Blackbeard responds by saying they call them devil fruits for a reason. That weakness is well worth the trade-off. So it seems like they both have a plan. Law has a plan to potentially knock them into the ocean. And then Blackbeard says, give it a try. Like, see if you can do it if you can. Like, devil fruits are really strong. I doubt you'll be able to do that.
It's interesting, and like, even at this point, like, Law, at this point, is confident. We see a little bit later, things might have changed, but like, yeah, the devil fruit part, it's like, I'm so curious because like we haven't seen them debut their devil fruit powers, but in terms of actually using them in in a meaningful way. We haven't seen that. That's the next level, right? All it's gonna take is Burgess, Q, every single one of them to just show off their devil fruit power, and then I can easily see them overwhelming the situation. Because like Law, like even with 2 competent members, it's like they're not Titanic captains, you know?
Yeah.
Even with this showing, they're not Titanic captains.
It's not Burgess, it's not Q, it's still not Stronger, or even Van Augur. Like they're still just heart pirates at the end of the day. No matter how they show out, I really don't think that they would win in the long run. Yeah.
And I think you said it before too with maybe it was on the stream, but like I mean the next page once we get to it, it's like everything that Blackbeard is doing, it's like he's gathering pieces, and it doesn't make sense to deny him a piece at this point, and Law has a piece, so it's like something has to happen from here.
Yeah. I mean, Blackbeard is set up to be an endgame villain. Will an endgame villain walk away from this fight without getting a W? Right. Will he walk away from this and Amazon Lily without getting anything? He got Kobe from Amazon Lily, and from the fight against Law, the only thing he has to gain here is the road poneglyphs. And if he wants to compete against Luffy and be that endgame villain, he does need the road poneglyphs. Because if he doesn't get it now, when is he going to get them? Because Luffy's just going to outpace him and get to Laughdale without him. And then Blackbeard will never be a threat.
Yeah.
So with that being said, while this is all going on, we cut to Blackbeard's pirate ship, the 3 giant logs in the sea. And we see that Pudding is underneath there, and she's actually captive, and she has a new outfit that is not seen in the cover page. And then she makes an interesting comment where she says, if Big Mom was still alive, you would eat those words. And then a couple of prison guards mention like, oh, well, we're finding her killers right now. Like the old era is done. The new era is coming up. And a lot of people, or at least the spoilers, kind of took this as Big Mom is dead. What is your opinion on this dialogue here?
I think it's, especially if you tie in the cover story to here, if she was captive that entire time, she just gets the news from the Blackbeard pirates, and then the captivity is a jarring thing considering we know that Vasco Shot is on the crew and she's
Vasco Shot, my man.
Not the your man side. Separate it out. And this is a sad panel. This is SVU kind of thing.
Okay, this is not a sad panel. Bro, this page is not sad. Pudding looks like ecstatic, dude. Like, she looks like a man with a plan. Like, she's smiling, her eyes are glistening. Like, she's
putting up a front.
To me, a classic face of somebody who's a prisoner.
I'm just saying that you can't trust Vasco Shot.
You know, maybe she likes Vasco Shot. Maybe she came around after all.
No, all right, sorry, we're skipping this. Censor this part of the fucking thing. Censor this.
Vasco Shot coming in hot, coming in with the clutch. There's a reason why he's not fighting anywhere. The Heart Pirates.
Oh my goodness. All right. You know what? What happened on the next panel?
Well, no. So, Pudding is here. And then do you think Big Mom is alive, or do you think she's actually dead?
I think she's alive. I think, because like there's no reason to have Big Mom stare at the magma and be like, this won't kill me, and then for her to just die. Like, that just doesn't make any sense.
That would be the biggest L in anime.
Yeah, that's like, that, you know, and then to that point, it's like, why do that and then bring Kinemon back?
Oh, dude, don't even get me started on... Bro, the anime just got to Kinemon.
Yeah.
And that's so painful. That is so painful.
It's like, I get it. Building up like a suspense, like, oh my god, like, I'll make this feel so bad for Kinemon, and then he doesn't have a meaningful send-off. If you're gonna do that, it has to amount to something, and then add insult to injury. It's like most people regard it as a gag from 500 chapters ago as the reason why Kinemon's alive. It just feels so bad, and in the manga, it didn't feel that bad. In the anime, you watch that, I feel so bad for all the anime only watchers.
Dude, he had a whole send-off.
Yeah,
like that the whole anime episode was dedicated to Kinemon dying.
It was done well. It's just the end result makes all of that pointless. Yeah,
he survives. So it's like Pell. Pell had a big send off. Oh, he had a VV flashback. He's flying up in the sky. It's a beautiful panel. He lived. Big Mom, I feel like, is the same way. And the thing is that Kinemon and Pell's story, in a way, they were completed. The story could have gone on fine without them. Kinemon, we could look back and say, well, you know, he completed his duty as a scabbard. He was a really meaningful person on Momonosuke's journey. Totally cool. Same with Pell. Big Mom is a character that does have more to complete in the story, or even just sending off her pirates into the new age or the new era. You know, flashbacks with Roger, the golden era, her with Rocks, Kaido. There's so much there that if Big Mom were to die, but Kinemon and Pell didn't, it would be shocking.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the major tenets as to why I thought Yamato staying on Wano was that because Yamato's that strong and also would serve as a great mentor, which we saw in the latter half of Wano, or only the raid, was that Yamato is teaching him about the fruit, teaching him about like fighting, teaching him about like, you know, cowardice, when to surrender, when not to surrender, all that stuff. And that is Kinemon's role as like his you know, his father, right? Like to be in Odin's stead, to teach him how to be a shogun and all that stuff. And it's like the torch was passed in the raid. It was like healthily passed. And it's like to the point where like now Kinemon's role as a bodyguard, sure, the scabbards aren't weak. Kinemon should be regarded as a strong character. You know, like I think there's a reason why Kinemon wasn't there against Aramaki, because that would have made things a lot worse for Aramaki, considering what had happened to him without Kinemon there. So then, like, you add the fact that Yamato was there. Yamato handled things. Yamato is literally stayed because it's like, hey, if I'm not here, what's gonna happen, right? You don't need Kinemon and Yamato to both play a similar role there. You know what I mean? It's like, the whole point of, not the whole point, but Yamato's like, I'm Odin, right? Like, that's literally Momo's dad. Like, we don't need Kinemon to do that. I mean, I love Kinemon, but like all of the things that came afterwards, unless Kinemon's like, you know, Louis Vuitton fruit is meaningful in the last saga, I don't think that it's necessary to keep, right? Like, it's really not. And so if he's necessary to keep, Big Mom, Yonko, right? She's staying. Like, there's no reason.
Yeah, she's not a Yonko anymore. Like, in title, she's not there.
True.
Like, I honestly feel like if Big Mom comes back, she's not going to be like a main villain. She's not going to be the main focus of an arc. She'll just be in the background providing lore, supporting character, and all that good stuff.
Interesting.
So I really do feel like Big Mom is alive, and we can't take what Pudding or some of the Blackbeard pirate fodder say here as fact. She's not dead. She's chilling.
Agree.
And on to the last parts of the chapter, we see Law still using his awakening, and he attacks Blackbeard, and Blackbeard starts absorbing Law's room, and that is where we cut off in the fight. And you can see Law is pretty shocked by what's happening here, or at least surprised by the Blackbeard vortex. And to me, this doesn't bode super well, just because obviously we saw what happened with Ace. Ace was confident in his powers, and then it got absorbed, and then he was reduced to fodder. Same happened to Whitebeard. Whitebeard was destroying him with the Guruguru no Mi, and then Blackbeard absorbed it and then started punching Whitebeard. Whenever Blackbeard starts using this Yami Yami no Mi, it just does not go super well.
Yeah.
And that is why I'm hoping that we get a part 3 to this fight where we see Law being overwhelmed before he does lose. But yeah, what do you think? Does Law still have a fighting chance in your opinion?
No, I think like the difference between last week and this week is the possibility that it's interesting, because I think a lot of people would say off of this, Law's chances of dying increased. But I think that, like, even last week, I had so many different reasons as to why Law lives, and I think even now it still makes sense. Had Doc Q not had a devil fruit, I would then think that, like, okay, maybe Blackbeard would want to supplant his fruit into Doc Q, because you need medical knowledge. Without the medical knowledge, Law's fruit isn't as valuable. You can't, like, Blackbeard can't just take his fruit without medical knowledge and then do all the things that Law does. You need that part. That's something that we know of. And then also there's so many other things about the Opi Opi no Mi. Like, Law has had it for like most of his life. So to get that kind of level of expertise, most characters shouldn't we shouldn't expect most characters to have that. Not even Blackbeard. Blackbeard already has the Gura Gura, has the Yami Yami. I don't think it even makes sense, like, not that it doesn't make sense, but to add this in the arsenal. And then also I was thinking about this earlier, like while we were in the call. I was thinking, like, is immortality something that Blackbeard would even chase? Like, maybe, but like, he also seems like a person, like Luffy wouldn't do that. So I feel like Blackbeard wouldn't do that either, but like for different reasons, right? Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Do you think Blackbeard's the kind of character that would want the immortality?
He's never mentioned it, so I wouldn't imagine he would want the immortality surgery. Maybe somebody else on his crew does, but even then, he hasn't mentioned it once. So to me, he probably doesn't want it.
And to that point, he might not even know that power exists, because that's kind of like a hidden thing. But like, we kind of just assume Blackbeard knows everything. But in this instant, it's either he doesn't want it or he doesn't know it. So one way or the other, I feel like I still like my original hopium copium that I ended with last time, which is Law ends up in Impel Down with Doflamingo. A lot of people were bringing up like, oh, like Doflamingo and Law would never work together. Well, Luffy and Crocodile, Luffy and Buggy, Luffy and many of the people that were with him would never really work together. But here we have Law and Doflamingo. Doflamingo is a very important character that is, in my opinion, going to be brought back. As like, there's no reason to think that he's not going to be brought back after Cross Guild, after the Seraphim situation, imitating all of the or multiple warlords. We don't know all of them, but multiple. So it's like Doflamingo's going to come back. If Law is in this situation that's similar to Ace, maybe it parallels full way. Blackbeard sends Law to Impel Down, maybe cashes a bounty, maybe trades something. I don't know how that would go through. Now that we know that Kuzan is with the Blackbeard pirates in a larger capacity, maybe that's the route. Maybe Kuzan takes the role of capturing Law and sending him to Impel Down, gets the bounty, whatever it is, and that would bring an interesting interaction between Kuzan and the Marines. So there's a lot of ways out of this where Law doesn't die, but then on top of that, there's a lot of reasons why Law shouldn't die, because like the D-Clan, the water law thing, like just his position with Luffy, his fruit. We still haven't gotten the upper limits of his fruit yet. So unless we're saying his fruit, like immortality, personality, whatever Doflamingo was talking about at the Holy Land, unless we're planning on giving this fruit that was specifically designed for the Surgeon of Death to be given to somebody else, it doesn't really make sense to remove Law from the story in this right. He could be crippled. He could take like significant damage, but I don't know if like removing him
would lose.
Is,
yeah.
And
like what you said with Impel Down too. And you can go on. What's up?
No, I was just gonna say, I think like in terms of loss, you might have brought it up earlier. I forget it was on stream or here, but
yeah,
Law has a whole crew to lose, right? Like something regarding his crew and him separating, losing people. There is all of that to have like happen here.
Yeah, so. And I love your Impel Down theory as well. And it especially does tie in with the next part of the chapter where we see Akainu knowing about the fight and wondering kind of what he should do about the situation. And he mentions like the island they're on, which is called Winter's Island, which we'll get to here in a second. But he's like, okay, so we're forced to wait about this whole situation. It's kind of damn frustrating. And if Akainu does come in at the very end, like let's say Blackbeard does defeat Law, he takes the poneglyphs, but Blackbeard doesn't kill Law. Maybe he lets him go. Maybe the crew saves him and Law is heavily injured. And Akainu or the Marines show up and then boom, Law, Impel Down. It can happen. It is in the realm of possibility and it has a really good chance of actually happening.
Yeah.
And one thing to do make note of is Winter's Island. The name of that is pretty specific, and Winter's Island, it sounds important, right? Like, what does your mind go to when you think of Winter's Island? Because for me, at least, I automatically go to Roger because, you know, he's a winner in every pirate's book. He became Pirate King. This sounds like an island that he might have had under his control at one point.
Yeah, for me, I think like the biggest thing is the island name is unnecessary, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that we got it means that maybe it tells us something, right? We could have easily been on a random island, nothing, uninhabited, no reason to name this island. But we got the name, and it's a fun one. I'm going to wait for officials to claim Winter Island. Maybe it's like Victor Island or something like that. But maybe the official translation, or maybe if I get my hands on the raws, I would look at the kanji and see if it, like, if there's a pirate, if there's somebody that this would mean. And like you said, the pirate associated with winning is Roger, right? Like, and so if this is associated with him, I mean, that meme copium idea of Scopper Gaban being here is kind of more fun now. I'm just like questioning, because like we're on Egghead Island. Egghead, like you could look at the island and be like, there's an egg there, right? Like,
yeah.
These random islands, like, especially if it's not like a Dressrosa or like even Arabasta. Like if we originally, sorry,
you're good.
Originally, we called it Alabasta, right? But recently it was like noted Oda wanted us, or like that it was Arabasta, the Arab ties to it. And so like if you use that context for that island, it's like there's Arabian themes to it. So it makes sense. It's on the nose. Fisherman Island is an island of fishmen, right? Like there's so many, oh yeah, and technically like Punk Hazard is Vegapunk's like Hazard. Little Garden. Yeah, like the names mean something. So it's like, what does Winter like have to do here? Is that like, was Rocks here or something? Like maybe he lost and then they call it Winter Island, but like who is winning? Why is it important? How to like, and also on top of that, like we're questioning how long Oda's going to show us this fight, right? Like, is it next chapter? Does it end or does it continue, or do we not get it and we get cliffhangered? And it's like, this Winter Island, I would imagine, would be important in that window of time we're here on this island. It wouldn't make sense like halfway through the last saga and be like, hey, Winter Island, you remember that? That's where Emu like won the Void Century thing. It's like, why? You know, like that's so random. And again, the name Winter is just like so important, I feel like.
It's on the nose.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting. I like the I've always throw back to my my end of Wano prediction video that I made, and I made knowing that like probably a lot of it would be wrong, but one of the things I said in it was that I said an admiral would show up on Wano, and I didn't know which one, but at the time we just got the volcanic activity, like the explosions, all that stuff. And so to me, I was like, oh, maybe this is how Akainu shows up. And the reason is like Akainu is super fed up with being a fleet admiral. He can't do anything. And then he said like, no, his fleet was so spread out with the warlords and the reverie, we didn't know all the stuff at the time, but clearly you spread thin. And so his aspect or his angle is like, I need to go there myself. And so now we're seeing that exact like frustration kind of like culminating, and it feels like a keg like ready to explode essentially, where it's like, is this the moment he shows up, or is it the next kind of crazy thing? Is it the Kid one? Because we still don't know what's going on with Kid. And if this is happening in the Law and Vegapunk is with Luffy, then like I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know what's happening with Kid. And like maybe that's where Akainu shows up. Man, all of these developments are so detailed.
Watch Kid show up with Scopper Gaban. He's the one who like runs into him.
The man marked by flames is Scopper.
Yeah,
that was a lot of people did think that originally. So
yeah, I mean, who knows what happened during those 20 years Roger died.
Yeah, who knows.
But yeah, so after the part with Akainu and the whole fight with Law and Blackbeard, which is probably the biggest part of the chapter, we move on to another big part of the chapter where we see Luffy and the gang underaged, overaged, all that good stuff. And then we get a lot of Kuma lore. We learn that he was originally a quote-unquote tyrant of Sorbet Kingdom. He became a pirate, he became a revolutionary, and then he was caught by the Navy, given a life sentence, and then he became a science experiment by Vegapunk, and then he became a freaking warlord. The guy has a really crazy past. It is lore on lore on lore. And then that is when we get a couple of things. We get Bonnie picking up a lightsaber. We see Bonnie also mentioning that he was of a special race. And then that's kind of where we cut off. And there's a lot to digest here. Like, there's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
And the first thing that I think we should hit on is probably Kuma's race. What do you think when you saw Kuma's special race being mentioned?
That was definitely like out of left field. I feel like nobody kind of like, because like we got off of Whole Cake Island, and or was it when she was on Wano, Big Mom was saying like she doesn't have 3 races.
Yes.
And we know it's giants because she's like trying to, cater to their, try to be friendly with them. She's trying to marry off a daughter. So we know that she doesn't have Lunarians because that's what she said to King. And then the last one I would imagine is Oni, because like there was no Onis, and Onis seemed like a race, like ogres, Onis, whatever it is. So that seemed like the 3 races that were left. But maybe Big Mom just doesn't know all of the races, and it would be weird because
like rumors in a way.
Yeah, and like she collects all the races, so I'd imagine she would know about all the things. And so now I'm questioning, like, is Bonnie saying like a very special race? I mean, keep in mind Bonnie wasn't with us at all for any of these things, so it wouldn't be weird for her to be like a very special race, and it should just be like a race that we know, but Bonnie
Humans.
doesn't. Yeah, like honestly, like
God, he's a human. Can you believe it?
And like, I mean, given
ridiculous.
Yeah, given like Kuma's like, stature, a lot of people are like, well, there's like Whitebeard, he was like a very big person, like Kaido, like a lot of these characters were really randomly big, and like Kaido we found out was an Oni, so it's like we don't know much about Onis. Could he be an Oni? All this stuff. But something that came up in the live reaction that I really liked, it was Time Lord who shouted this out, was that it might be that we're getting this, we know that Blackbeard has a special body.
Yes.
And here we're finding about Kuma, and we're set up to learn a little bit more about Blackbeard. Like I mentioned, this last collab was between, this is 2 D clan members meeting, Law and Teach, and so they could drop a lot of lore about the D clans, or Law can learn about it, and we could learn about Blackbeard and Kuma and find out that they're from the same special race. And that's what he pointed out. They have very similar body types. They both have like a barrel chest, like the legs, size, arms, like they do have a similar body set. And then they're like also hair stuff, that they are similar. And I kind of like that. But then one of the holes in that one was like, well, if Kuma's that special race, and I don't know if this is a hole necessarily, because it could just be that Bonnie's not biologically Kuma's kid. Yeah, Kuma's daughter. Because if Kuma's a special race, that would mean that Bonnie's a special race. And it's not like it's completely dismissed, because people, like the world government, Akainu like said that she was wanted by the world government. Not wanted, but like she was being held or something. Like, oh, I'll return you back to like the Holy Land or something like that. And like that's a questionable, like for what reason? And maybe it's the race thing. Maybe she has a lineage factor there. I don't know. I honestly, with this reveal, I'm more confused than not. But like, I'm also excited to find out things. But like, what I know you were excited about this.
I was excited because I have 2 crazy theories about this. Mm-hmm. So after Bonnie mentions that Kuma was a special race, we have Chopper saying a special race. And I thought that was very interesting, because for the longest time, and even this chapter, I was like, okay, Chopper is probably like modeled after an automata, because we've seen them on the moon, we see him here in Egghead Island. Chopper might have ties with Vegapunk. Could be a clear-cut case. But also, one of the very first forms of Chopper we ever saw was that monster in the forest. And if you look at the monster in the forest, which is supposedly Chopper's original form, is the same shape as Kuma, minus the hair, because he was part reindeer. I was like, like maybe Chopper's Zoan form is actually just a special model of whatever race Kuma is.
I love that, because I did mention that in my live reaction, but I didn't spend too much time on it, because that was a premise in my Chopper video from a year ago.
Yeah.
Where I was searching through all the One Piece characters. You could see it in the video. And I was trying to find one that was closely associated to what Chopper looked like in his human form. And the ones I landed on was the Masira brothers, the main one. He has this exact same body proportions as Chopper in that thing. But that was in the context of not realizing that Kuma is like a different person, right? Like I could have that would have made that theory even stretchy. If I had said that back then, like, oh, Kuma's not a normal human, he's a different, like, everyone would be like, oh, you're stretching way too far with that.
Dan Parr, get him out of here.
Yeah, like, but the thing is, like, that's the kind of stretching that, like, nuance that you need when looking at the series. How many people, even a week ago, if I had said, like, oh, Kuma's a different race, right? How many people would have been like, that's batshit crazy. You're dumb. This is why Oda writes the series and not your dumbass. And I'm like, look at this update, bro. Like, like, what are we saying? And I love that idea, by the way.
And one thing, too, is that the arc that Kuma got introduced in was Thriller Bark, right?
Yeah.
And
wait, Kuma introduced Thriller Bark?
Or he met the Straw Hats in Thriller Bark.
Yes.
Is a better way to put it. And during that arc, and I guess throughout his entire existence, he had a holy Bible that had like a giant cross on it and all that good stuff.
True.
But in Thriller Bark, when Chopper was in his normal form, that base form that I just talked about, he also had a cross over his as a necklace throughout Thriller Bark as well. So I'm like, could Oda have been teasing Chopper and Kuma's relations from the very beginning during that arc? Because I was watching Thriller Bark because, just for funsies.
I was like, how did you remember that?
No, and I'm actually rewatching Thriller Bark right now because I just finished Eni's Lobby again. And they're in Thriller Bark, and Chopper, like, throughout the entire of Thriller Bark, he's wearing a cross. And I'm like, yo, like, this could be just very on the nose. Like, I'm not too sure if there's something there, but Chopper is my main one that I'm on. Because Chopper, even distinctively is the one who says a special race.
Yeah.
But there's also one more character that, in a way, fits the bill, but I'm not sold on it. But Bonnie mentioned that because Kuma had a special body and because he was stronger, he was made to become a cyborg. But there's also one more Straw Hat who became a cyborg, and that is Frankie. And we do know that Frankie's parents were pirates. And now we officially learn that Kuma was a tyrant and then became a pirate and then a revolutionary and then was caught. So I'm like, maybe there's a Frankie theory out there somewhere. I'm not sold on it, but that is also a possibility since Frankie also had the body to become eligible to become a cyborg. But I am leaning towards the Chopper one more than the Frankie one. But I thought that was like an interesting thing to point out. Do you have any takes on either one of these?
I'm not the biggest fan of the Frankie one, but I see where you're going with that. There's some connection somewhere here, right?
Yeah, I mean, they look nothing alike, right? Like, the hair is kind of off. Yeah, the body is even off. So, like I said, I'm not sold on it, but I just thought it was interesting that they made note of, like, oh, because of the body, he became a cyborg. Yeah,
the Chopper one I really like. I've been meaning to make an update because I had a Chopper video and a Vegapunk video, and they were back to back because they were connected. Yeah. And now we see that it's connected a little bit because we're learning about it on Vegapunk's island. Special race. That was, even more so, a lot of people thought that Chopper's Devil Fruit was a manufactured one by Vegapunk that was lost on Drum Island for some reason. And that's why Chopper's bounty is so low.
Because of his ties.
Yeah, because like Vegapunk wants the fruit, and so he doesn't want people to get it, so he keeps the bounty low. That's his pressure. I feel like I'm stitching together a few theories for this one that I've heard. But if Kuma was being experimented on and a devil fruit was created from that, right? Because we do know that Kuma was experimented on, it kind of fits that Chopper's fruit could just be Kuma's fruit. Which is interesting.
It could be a failed experiment, and that's why Chopper has so many forms that Zoans don't have. I mean, we know the Rumble Ball does exist, but what if this is the first one?
Yeah, I like that. Honestly, I like this. I like this a lot.
I am the low-key theory guy.
Yeah, Sai just needs to be in a comfortable space.
Yes. Gotta have a couple shots down the hole, and we go for it.
We gotta get knocked up. We gotta have some
oh my gosh,
Milky Road stream a little bit, and then we loosened up enough for Sai to unleash his load on us.
So with that being said, I'm gonna skip past that one. We see Bonnie with the lightsaber, and just glazing past this so we can get to the final parts of the chapter. Do you take any special note of the lightsaber, or is it just a gag, a throwaway? It doesn't really matter.
Oh no, the lightsaber is crazy to me because there was on that One Piece talk I went on their podcast, and I think I forget if we talked about it too. Essentially how those holograms are like pseudo logias in the sense of like if they want to interact with like the surroundings, they can, and this lightsaber is proof of that. Like, and then on top of that, it's like this lightsaber, it's like what exactly is Vegapunk preparing for? Because we have the gloves, the photonic gloves. I imagine those could catch the lightsaber, but then also like the lightsaber just being introduced. Like, what are we gonna do with swords? Like,
bro, it's in the junkyard too. Like this isn't even a good one. Like Vegapunk was like, "Yo, this is garbage. Throw it away."
It's crazy to me because it's like when we get something like this, that means we're gonna get more of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially something like that. It's a sword, right? Like it's a beam, a saber, swordsman. That means Zoro is gonna fight a lightsaber beam or something like that. Like, definitely see something like that. This could be a weapon that Frankie gets. This could be a weapon that Usopp gets. Like there's, or maybe not Usopp, but like something's here. Oh, imagine Usopp gets light bullets.
I mean, it is something. I hate bringing up like other series, but Bleach actually has something similar where Uryu Ishida has he's a bowman. But one of his bow attacks is he actually attaches a light sword and he shoots it out. So it could be similar to that in a way. But I mean, either way, I am pretty sold on Usopp potentially getting a upgrade from this arc. Like, I feel like it has to happen.
I think Usopp's going to get a hefty upgrade, in my opinion. I hope.
He kind of needs it, bro. He kind of needs it.
Yeah, I think there's internal and external, and we need to touch one of them. Like, in terms of
we need both. We
need both. But I think like within Egghead, maybe it's just the external, and then Elbaf is the internal, or it's flipped, or it's both in both places, and it's like a stepping stone. Like Vegapunk gives him like, hey, you need to go. Like, as absurd as this sounds, like Vegapunk is like, okay, so this is my logic. Hilarious enough, I'm talking about the logic Vegapunk. Shaka was known as an African leader, like a military general that was specifically known for their military tactics, able to lead like legions of people. And then that is exactly what Usopp has been demonstrated as time and time again, to be able to like command a large group of people, whereas Luffy has no care in the world about what other people do in the fight. He goes in one place and he's like, everyone else got it, right? And and Usopp, Zoro, Sanji, they do play that role here and there, but in terms of commanding the masses, that's where Usopp plays in. And so Shaka being named that way, Shaka being logic, I feel like that's like an internal boost that Usopp will get, like military tactics, how to command people, because that is what Shaka, the inspiration for that Vegapunk satellite's name is, would play a role here. And then that's not even considering the weapons aspect of boosts that Usopp could get here. So there's so many things that can come out of this.
And it's funny when we think of upgrades, especially on the mental level like that, whether it be for Usopp or Frankie, and it's like, can that really be something that could be taught in a short period of time? And the answer is probably no, right? Like, they could get basic stuff, but to learn or to get to Vegapunk's level of understanding and logic would take a while.
Yeah.
And I think it would be really funny if their form of a mental or, inner upgrade was if Vegapunk just uploaded data into their brains. Like would that feel like a cheat? Like if that did happen, like hypothetically, to you, would that feel really cheap? Or do you think it's fine?
No, because I think it exists already in the One Piece thing. I never posted a video about this, but in my Mind Rope video, you can go back and hear it in the video mid script. I off the rip was like, wait a second, I think this is real. And then like I didn't talk about it because it would have taken away from it. But do you want to hear what it is?
Go for it.
I'm gonna try and shorten it up. But if I were to make a video, it would go like this. It would essentially be like when Roger and Odin and everyone learned about Laugh Tale, or the true history, something that always sparked, it's like 100 years of history. You can't just sit down and read blocks and they tell you those things. There's like you know what I mean? Like prior to that, it was Odin reading them the story that was on the thing, or Roger listening to it. But the entire crew knows the history. Everyone who was there was, so it was, did they just sit down for like what, a few
Story
days?
time.
Yeah, and story time, that doesn't make any sense. And I understand that's so nitpicky and detail oriented, but when you think about mind rope, and you think, that's why it came up in that video, it's like the ability to share information. We saw that with Viola and Sanji, actually. Her devil fruit, she was able to use her insight to share her mind and look into Sanji's mind, and it was instant download. And the same thing happened with Momo on Zunisha. Momo was overwhelmed, but it was able to learn about Zunisha. It wasn't like Zunisha was sitting there telling them the story. It's like, no, Momo just saw it, right? And I would imagine that's similar to what, like, when Momo sees, like, through Zunisha's eyes. It's like an instant telepathy link, and that's where, like, Luffy's power, that's why I called it telepathy, all those things, it comes in together. And so on Laugh Tale, to me, and this is like when I joined the community, I remember when I first started streaming, someone asked me a few things, and I shared these theories, but those VODs were like deleted, taken down, whatever. And the idea was that for whenever we learned about like Odin's backstory, whatever, and I was anime only at the time, I sat there and I was like, wait a second. They had to like download the information. Like there had to be like information overload. And what is the way that they probably did it? Well, they were laughing, crying, dancing. And what was there probably? I think it's sake. I think it was like Joy Boy sake, Bink sake. I think there was sake there. And so if you guys know my Sanji video, that's why I think that you can infuse Haki into anything. You can infuse Haki into swords, for example. So why not objects? We know that you can infuse Haki. So it's like, I think that this sake was infused with Haki, and that sake, they all drank it, and they were able to get all the memories of, or history, and told the story of it. And what better, I mean, that's the way storytelling works within the One Piece verse. Is like anytime you share a sake, you end up connecting with a person, and you end up like knowing more about them or whatever, you share things. But the other reason why I was thinking that was actually from Marineford. It was when Whitebeard told and Roger met up. Roger's last talk with Whitebeard. Roger goes like, do you want to know the history? And Whitebeard says no. But then he's like, do you want to know about the Will of D? And he's like, yeah, go for it. Will of D story can't be that minimal either.
No, it's got to be long, just like the One Piece.
Right, and we saw the, like, I imagine the Land of God stuff that he knew about might have been from Roger, for example. And what did they have during that meeting? They had the sake. And where could Roger have gotten that sake if that was the time that he was like, this is his last thing, right? So it's like, I think that sake was what like he used to help like share the information with Whitebeard, if not his own version of it. And I think that carries on to the Shanks thing. I think that might be how Shanks knows about it too, because with Shanks we always get the sake thing, even with Whitebeard, even recently. So that's kind of my thing with the instant download thing. I think like you're with Kuma, with Vegapunk, with all these things, I think it exists already, and Vegapunk has been mechanicalizing everything within the story.
If like there's the voice of all things, or Haki infused sake, or storytelling exists, then there's a good chance Vegapunk found out how to do this, but scientifically.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done the same with ornament, seemingly observation. Like he has all these crazy inventions. It wouldn't be far-fetched to say that as well.
Yeah.
Just have data downloading.
And I like that. That's like the essential thing with like my channel too. Like not to derail too much more, but essentially like trying to share this crazy vision as efficiently as possible. It's like it gets to a point where sometimes like the viewers, they tapped into the mind rope. That's like a running gag. They tapped into mind rope where I can just say a few of the words of the theories, some of the topics, and they instantly understand where my brain is going to, right? And that's like the beauty of it. And if you could make that more efficient, I mean, Elon Musk is doing that with ironically, you brought up Elon Musk at the beginning of the stream or the call, but he's doing that with the brain chips, right?
I'm looking forward to it, man. I believe in it. I like technology.
I like
I'm excited
technology
to see what
too.
happens with it.
Would you be the first to line up for that chip real quick?
Probably not the first, but I would be like, I would be up there.
Second
I
or
would,
third.
Yeah, I'd be like second or third. I wouldn't be the very first person to go after it.
Yeah.
Just because, like, you know, what if a mistake happens or whatever? But I'd be up there. So going on with the chapter, because there's still a lot of technology to go around. We see the rest of the Straw Hat Pirates going up in the sky with Vega Force 12, and then they casually drop anti-gravity jet thrusters. And it allows to sustain easy propulsion. And I was like, okay, that's pretty dang crazy. They bring up the aircon again. Okay, sure, why not? And then we see a sky island that Vegapunk has created. And then they just casually bring up, oh yeah, by the way, the density in the water vapor, the, you know, coagulated pyroboloin, all that good stuff. We made use of that, and here we go. And it's like, all right, so Vegapunk is a madman. We knew he was a monster. We knew he created, like, you know, genetically modified pacifistas, seraphim, devil fruits, eating swords. He discovered the lineage factor. His ceiling just keeps on going.
There is no ceiling.
There is no ceiling with Vegapunk.
Yeah.
Like, literally, he is so overpowered that by the end of the chapter, Oda has to kill him.
Yeah.
like that is literally what it boils down to. Vegapunk, if he does not die, he's just going to keep on doing crazier and crazier things. Soon it will be Cyberpunk.
Like, I would go as far as say, I think every chapter we got information of Vegapunk, I think there was already a huge foundation of people that were just like, this guy needs to just die because it's
kill
too
him,
broken.
please. Kill him.
It's too broken because I think, like, you know, Luffy's the main character, but if we were to assign sky's the limit to a character, usually it's the main character, but no, sky's the limit is Vegapunk. And
he's the Dr. Stone of the universe.
Dr. Stone honestly has nothing on this man.
No.
Like Dr. Stone, I mean, obviously it's the same, it's a similar situation, right? 500 years ahead of his time in the caveman world. But it's like, I think if you put Dr. Stone here, he'd be like, the fuck? Like,
what is going on, bro?
Yeah,
Who is this man? Who's Dr. Vegapunk? There's six of them?
You'd be like, I need a break. I need to.
Yeah.
Let me send me back.
I'll just be a pediatrician.
Yeah, honestly, like, he'd make Dr. Stone retire. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah,
but
no, Vegapunk is crazy.
The anti-gravity thing. So okay. Let me get this one out of the way, which is the Sky Island one. I mean, to not to toot my own horn, but I have a Pluton video that's coming out, and it's already out for YouTube members. And I early released some of my theories, especially the longer ones, because it takes a while to edit. But with that, there's literally, like, word for word what regarding the Sky Island, like word for word in that thing, where I was like someone. This exists, like, manipulating these things. I just wonder who. And then the next chapter is this. I'm like, no, I didn't get the video edited. Like, but it's there for the members to see if they. But you'll see it soon. It'll be up by the end of the weekend, so the official people will see it. But then they'll probably be like, oh, he just saw the chapter. I'm like, no, this has been here for so long. And sometimes that. Like, as much as I love Oda in my basement here, he listens too well. Like, there's no reason to
taking notes.
Yeah, and then so that aside, you know, shameless plug aside, the anti-gravity thing was like,
bro, Fujitora looking kind of bad right now. Let me tell you.
Kizaru, it's like Vegapunk unintentionally fodderized, like, the most powerful thing. I never thought that gravity would be so like glossed over like that, like, because the reason why it's glossed over, I realized while I was reading it, was because we get the anti-gravity, it's like anti-grav, but then what we find out is that Vegapunk essentially has created their own, like, atmospheres. So atmosphere is greater than gravity, in my opinion. Well, like, you know,
in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it was like it was a stepping stone, and it was like anti-gravity, atmosphere. Like, there was one other thing too, and I was just like, oh my god, like, what are we what about Akainu? What about
bro?
What about
If
Kuzan?
next chapter, Vegapunk comes in with either heat resistant or cold resistant equipment, it's done. Like Vegapunk is actively going against the admirals. Like it is sealed in the books.
Wasn't the no, these weren't the suits that Vegapunk made on Punk Hazard, were those cold resistance and heat resistance because of the island?
I don't remember, because I mean, no. It wasn't because of the island, because
It was Caesar's
the island,
gas.
the island became cold and hot after Akainu and Aokiji fought, and that when that happened, they actually they quarantined the island beforehand. So
Got it.
afterwards, or beforehand.
Yeah. No, I got it. No.
Yeah, if he hits us with cold or heat resistant equipment next chapter, done deal. Oda is introducing Admiral fodderizing equipment for no reason.
Yeah, like I mean, and then what we have to look at Green Bull too. We have to look at Aramaki and look at that situation.
CO2 gas emission.
Because he was also familiar with Vegapunk. In his introduction, there was a conversation about Vegapunk. So I wouldn't be surprised if Vegapunk has a counter to this. And it's like...
It's a chainsaw. Yeah, it's just a giant chainsaw. Like, I'm going to chop down some trees.
I was going to say, like, I always think to this... I think it's like from Batman, like the cancer ray. But that wouldn't be like a one-to-one. And that'd be way too fucked up for the series. Like, to introduce like that kind of thing.
Yeah, tree cancer. Here you go.
Yeah, but to be fair, there's the tree fever and all that stuff. But like, yeah, like Vegapunk, like I feel like we're just gonna find out that Vegapunk did everything, and like nobody could truthfully like breathe the same. Like Vegapunk is next level. If there was a different like a character with a different race, it's Vegapunk, right? Like
Yeah,
it's not.
he's not human, bro.
Like Kuma, whatever. I don't even care about your race. I need to know about
Never
Vegapunk.
forget Kuma.
Like
forget Kuma.
What is that race? It's please don't tell me it's human. Don't give humans that clout, right? Like because that's honestly disrespectful to all the other humans. You know what I mean? That Vegapunk exists. Sometimes I think about that. I'm like I look at super geniuses in our world. I'm like, we're the same species. Like that's disrespectful to everybody, and like disrespectful both ways. Like you're the same as us, and we're the same as you, and like the same thing here. Like I'm surprised Vegapunk doesn't have like a yuck, like a get out of here kind of like a celestial dragons kind of air about him, you know? And like maybe he does. Maybe that's why they only send out robots. Maybe that is the case.
If I was as smart as Vegapunk, I wouldn't want to talk to pirates. Like, get out of my way, dude. Like, I only talk to intellectuals. Give me Judge. Give me Queen. Give me Caesar.
Which is great, a perfect segue into the last part of the chapter.
Yeah,
right?
which is in the last part of the chapter, we have Sanji and the rest of the group getting their outfits, and Sanji is the only one who doesn't get the upgrade. Which, there could be a couple of explanations. I was like, maybe the Vince Smoke DNA in there, just maybe, you know, the clothing didn't fit him. Maybe he's supposed to be the dad of the group because, you know, technically he is like the highest ranking member here. That would reel them all in line if something were to go awry. Or maybe freaking Shaka, Lilith, Vegapunk doesn't like Vince Smokes.
Yeah, they sense the Vince Smoke thing.
Yeah, they're like, yo, I don't like this guy. Like, Judge messed me up too many times. He doesn't deserve clothes.
The reason why I just kind of like had a mini like panic attack was like, this is a massive miss, because I would have loved to see Zoro in a future outfit, like a swordsman with like a Tron.
Yeah.
Like that's
a Tron blade.
Yeah, like, oh my goodness, that would have been so sick.
Imagine Zoro would get a helmet and then like he has an artificial like robot eye on the other one. That'd be kind of cool.
Oh my goodness.
That'd be kind of dope actually. Like underneath the helmet, he activates the eye.
Like Frankie got the goggle thing, so why not? Oda, please do
this.
No,
there's a reason. I think there's a reason why Oda left him on the ship.
Yeah, but we were 4 years in Wano with the traditional. No offense, but you know, let's hit it. You know,
this is the future.
Yeah, the future is now.
Yeah, come on, old man. Said by Par.
Wait, what? I'm not gonna dox myself, but that was disrespectful side.
Are you about to dox your age or something?
Yeah, I was gonna be like, I'm not that old, but they don't know that. They don't.
Yeah, Par is only 15.
I'm married with a kid. I'm either 20 or 40, whichever one. One in between.
Yeah, 20 or 40. He's one of those. But yeah, we get a lot of crazy stuff in this last panel here. Their outfits are kind of interesting, and mainly Nami and Robin's, because we could see the solid bikini line going on. And the reason why it's interesting is because this is like the one time their panties are out on display, and Brook isn't here. Like, true. Brook chose the worst time to stay on the ship.
Maybe Oda did that on purpose. Maybe the next time they reunite is the moment Nami and Robin get pants. That's when they go back. That's crazy.
When Nami and Robin get pants, Brook is going to show up. I guarantee it. And then Brook is going to say, let me see your panties. And then boom, the whole gag continues. It's a running cycle.
If we get that right, oh my goodness, that'd be dope.
I feel like it would be, right? Like, yeah. Like,
because then it would ruin his
setup.
It would ruin his whole gag if he showed up and didn't say anything. But then, like, will he say? Because it's there, and you know,
it's on brand.
And I will say this to the viewers, because they think that I have an issue. But the thing is, on my stream, if you guys didn't have a reason to come already, I typically am forced to by the stream to leave it up, because the numbers immediately drop if I don't show what the viewers want. And the viewers wanted Nami and Robin today. And
I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why. Because I was focused on Frankie's outfit. Frankie's outfit's one of the cooler ones, because he, unlike most times, is wearing pants.
I actually think Frankie's design is kind of lame.
All right, fair enough. It is kind of bad, but I was excited by the pants. I think a lot of people are excited by the pants, so I was being a little sheepish by doing that, because I'm with you, Sai. I thought it was kind of weird. I don't know what's going on in his head, like the head part. Yeah. But yeah, like, I guess the pants are cool, but a lot of people are like, yeah, Frankie's outfit's the coolest because his pants. I'm like, yeah, but then there's Nami and Robin, so it's like, yeah.
What if it's a diss towards Frankie, his outfit? Have you thought about that? Like, because like a serious thing. Like, everybody has futuristic clothing, and then Frankie is the one person that has like a wind-up mechanism on his head. Like, he's old school, like an old school toy compared to like futuristic toys.
That's what I thought. Yeah, honestly, what I was gonna say now was the Luffy is the only one with a similar designed shirt. I believe he has like the two circles on the shoulders. So I don't know if that means something, like the outfits that people got. I don't know. Like, there is the weird thing, like on Robin's shirt, there's like the number 400 for some reason.
Yeah.
So it's like, why is that there?
Nami has the SSG.
Yeah.
And then the tropical outfits, which I don't know will ever be explained.
Maybe it's because it's in tropical season with the aircon. So
possibly.
Yeah.
Which would explain the panties too, and no pants.
True. But aren't they cold? When the thing, like, they felt cold? Oh, no, that was, like, Bonnie earlier.
Yeah, Bonnie was cold. Yeah, there's a lot of, like, small tidbits here. And then the last part of the chapter, we have Vegapunk, who mentions that they think they'll be dead pretty soon. And then he is revealed to be talking to Dragon. And because Vegapunk is such a smart guy, I want to take that, I think, as a I will die pretty soon. Vegapunk is really smart. He's not dumb. When he knows his time is up, it's most likely going to be up. Like, if he can create everything here and be 500 years in the future, I will take his words in a spoonful. And I wonder why he thinks he's going to die soon. Whether it be CP0, whether it be the world government, or his own health, we don't really know yet. And then, like I said, he is revealed to be talking to Dragon, and we know that they most likely have connections, thanks to Kuma being a revolutionary. What are your thoughts on the last two panels here of the chapter?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Saying something as heavy as that, like, I think I'll be dead soon. For someone like that, like, I was gonna say I didn't do this even on my stream, so I'm not gonna do it on yours. But you know my backstory. I have a very similar situation with that, and I wasn't wrong. And my exact response when I told, like, equivalent to Dragon in this regard, like a very important person. They were like, don't joke about something like that. And I'm like, I'm not joking, I'm being serious. And then, you know, I'm not saying that, like, you know, the problem with being a genius, like, it's not that, but it's like sometimes, like, it's like, you know, obviously reality gets inflated in fiction, and so, like, Vegapunk to have an instinct, right, given how we built him up to be this person way ahead of his time, I'm taking this at face value. He will be dead this arc in a few chapters. I don't know who it is, what it is. The one that makes the most linear sense is the CP0, which is just so odd to me. But like maybe there's like a duality meaning here. Like Vegapunk has like this mission to complete. When they complete that mission, they die. Like there's so many different meanings about this, right? Like I think I'll be dead soon, and he's just like saying this, right?
In
like,
a way,
we don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah,
right? Like,
in a way, this kind of hits me as it's as impactful as Roger saying, "I'm gonna die pretty soon." Like I'm at the end of my journey. Like, this is kind of what it reminds me of. Like, these are words that come from a character who has experience, knowledge, power, and they see the end. And that's what Vegapunk is doing right here. And maybe he does have something he wants to get off his chest. Maybe he does have something, like a mission he wants to complete. And I think it has to tie in with him wanting to meet the Straw Hats and him talking to Dragon. And when I think about him and Dragon and what they might have ties with, obviously we have Kuma, we have Leloucia, and I am leaning towards Leloucia. And I know you have your Pluton video coming out pretty soon, but if Rob Lucci is saying that Vegapunk might have something to do with that, and then in this chapter we see that he can control Sky Islands and clouds, I'm like, maybe he created the weapon that destroyed Leloucia. And then because of that, he's like, okay, yeah, the government's gonna take me out. Like, I completed their weapon, they have no use for me anymore.
Yeah. I think one way or another, he's right. I think what's really interesting about this is the dragon aspect, right?
Yes.
Because I just realized something right now. This is a conversation post Leloucia, and Dragon was involved in that as well. Indirectly through Sabo. And, you know, I think a lot more people, and so I'm going to say this generally, but I think a lot more people are on the accepting side that Sabo survived that by virtue of like the light placement on him, that he was probably off the island looking at what happened at Leloucia on his way to Leloucia, and that would make the most sense to keep Sabo in the story without creating a situation where he'd have to survive like such a deadly weapon, all that jazz. And Dragon was on the call. We don't know the ending parts of that conversation, but what we can gather from here is that Dragon is a homie, right? Because like I said, like
don't die on me. Don't joke like that, Vegapunk.
Not just that, but like this seems like the first person that Vegapunk turned to and told. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like Vegapunk, and like this is Shaka logic. Like I wouldn't be surprised if like Lilith and Atlas don't even know this, right? Like maybe Logic Shaka is the most tied to the original Vegapunk. Maybe this is the closest version to Vegapunk, one way or the other. Like having this kind of realization, again, this is where I got personal on the stream. I was just like, the first person you tell is meaningful. The first person I told was my wife, and then my brother, and it's like, and then the stream naturally went like, so Vegapunk is Luffy's mom, and I was just like, oh my goodness, like sure, you could go that way, but one way or the other, it's like Vegapunk holds Dragon to like a very important level, at least from my perspective. And that is crazy, because I had like a shock, because I was just like, I have to look back at every single Vegapunk, every single Dragon thing, and now see if there's any kind of connection anywhere, like some conversation, something in the background, something. Because like, was this originally planned? I don't know, but like it's so exciting. Because like I remember in my Vegapunk video a year ago, I went through like all the affiliations. Could it be like we just didn't know enough? But like I know a lot of people have had like various theories connecting Vegapunk to the revolutionaries, but now having it like this, and I just feel like the weight, like one thing if they're connected, but then like I am dying dragon, like that's a way deeper, like complicated, like situation, you know what I mean? Like it almost seems like they're brothers, you know, like
like they have crazy deep ties.
Yeah,
and that could be another reason why Vegapunk took an interest in Kuma in the first place. Maybe he didn't even care about Kuma, and then he was just like, okay, well, he's a revolutionary, I gotta help brother out, I'm gonna experiment on him, and then, you know, give the government a reason to suspend his life death sentence. So
yeah, and
that could also be it too.
And wait, did you have something to say on this one with the dragon?
Oh no, I already aired my thoughts. Like it has to do with ancient weapons, maybe even Luffy, like or it could be everything, right? Like he doesn't have to just pick one topic and go with it. He could honestly air all of the dirty laundry right now if he wanted to, since he knows he is probably gonna die.
Yeah. Something else I was pondering and thinking about was how, because this larger than Dragon's mystery, I feel like Mads is a really important mystery to be solved. And I, you know, right now I'm in like this everything kind of, not everything, like if there are open plot lines, it makes more sense as we close out the story to start connecting them. And now that we get this relationship, do you think there's a world where Dragon was also on the Mads team?
I don't know. That's a hard one. Because if he like, was, I feel like somebody would have mentioned it beforehand. But I mean, it's Oda, right? Like Oda, like you said, like were there connections with Dragon and Vegapunk beforehand? We don't really know.
Yeah.
So there could have been connections there, or he could make that connection at a later date. I'm not too sure, but Dragon doesn't strike me as a scientist right off the bat. Or at least he hasn't shown anything that would be an invention of Dragon's.
Yeah.
Like maybe if the Revolutionary Army had like futuristic weapons, unique guns, then I'd be more on board with that. But right now I'm not too sure.
So I had it's a small thing. It's not super long. It was just that originally on Witheria, when Nami was there, Hardus and the other people were, or I think it was Hardus specifically, he was just like, oh, like this information is dangerous. Be careful what you do with it. And I forget if I said this in a video or on a stream. I was saying that like that kind of thing is like there's a precedent to that, right? That implies to me that there's somebody who did that prior. They actually went out and did something dangerous. And for the longest time, because, you know, Dragon's affiliation with wind and weather, I thought that he was the person that was originally there. And because he got labeled a criminal, that's why, you know, on Hardus, he gets the news. He just sees like, wait a second, this was the guy on our island. We taught him everything. And then, you know, and then Dragon goes out there. He's labeled a criminal. That might be a bad thing. But now I'm like, with the Mads team, it seems like there was like cross learning being made here, right? Like cloning and modification, that was like more associated with Judge. And I feel like in such a strong way where even in the thing, it's like, well, maybe Vegapunk has cloning, right? We don't know. I'm sure he has cloning of some kind. Oh yeah, I mean the Seraphims, right? So it's like, it seems like there's cross references there. Maybe Vegapunk has another one, and that is the wind, the environment stuff, right? The aircon, controlling the climate. Maybe that's the cross reference with Dragon and Witheria, because
he has like a weather machine.
Yeah, and like that was something that Dragon worked on and has, and like we do have that aspect. Actually, now I think about it, like, because Lindbergh is a scientist there, and he invented jetpacks for everybody. So there is a few of these intricate details where now I feel like I should make that Dragon video, him being the person who learned from Witheria, that being like on the Mads team with Vegapunk. And so this is like a reverse, because we learned it from Vegapunk, Witheria, and then Dragon would be the connection using this.
The theories are, at least the connections can keep on piling up too.
Yeah,
like there's just so much here.
anti-gravity, like
yeah,
that.
the anti-gravity, the photon lights. Like I don't know. Like we could even look at the photon lights and the anti-gravity as, you know, anti-admiral equipment and say, well, maybe he was making this for Dragon the Revolutionary to help him overthrow the world government.
Yeah, like like I would imagine Dragon's gonna be squatted. Oh my god, if Dragon's squatted up with gear from Vegapunk.
Yeah, and like,
That
I
would be
mean, we kind of look at the revolutionary commanders as, I wouldn't say fodder, but just people who are not super strong.
They feel like
if they
fodder.
Yeah.
Like they don't feel. I mean, I got whiplash when we got the bounties and Road to Laughtail, and Bello Betty was equivalent to Jinbei, or had a higher bounty before Jinbei had his frozen. And keep in mind, Jinbei waited a long time for his to be frozen, so that is a considerable bounty to have for Bello Betty. It was like, I think it's 500. It was like 488 or something. I think something
I'm
like
gonna
that.
look it up.
So like Bello Betty, and then I think another two. I think Morley is on there as well. I think there were at least 2 or 3 revolutionaries on that top like 20 bounties. And that, it's weird because they feel like fodder. They shouldn't be strong. So the how many sabos and koalas can you get out of these children soldiers, right? You have to buff them up somehow. And if we're saying an army of Vegapunk like raid suit equivalent, like that's next level. Honestly, I feel bad for Sanji at that point. Sanji sucks ass. Like, oh my god, he's gonna fodderize raid suits. He already sort of is.
I mean, he's fodderizing everything the previous scientists in Mads have already done, so I wouldn't be super surprised. And to clarify on the revolutionary bounties, we have Karasu at 400 million, Bello Betty at 457 million, Morley at 293, and then Lindbergh at 316.
And that's the top 20, right?
Yeah.
So that's 4 revs in the top 20. And, 200 million, ass. But it's like, even then, their roles are supposed to be, like, covert. They're not, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure the not Lulusia. Was it? Oh, yeah, Lulusia. Wow, that's so funny. Lulusia's situation, that was like an outlier. They like all just squatted up. Like,
yeah, they were meeting up for the reverie.
Yeah, usually they're separated. Usually they're infiltrating like Ivankov is, right? Like nobody knew where Ivankov was. I imagine that's the same case with them. So they might surprise us with how strong they are. I'm not
with
gonna lie.
Vegapunk gear or anything else, they could be just overpowered.
Yeah. Honestly, oh my god, imagine like Lindbergh or someone slapboxing Kuzan, or not.
Oh
Kuzan,
no, stop
Kizaru.
it! I don't want that. I'm not
Just
gonna lie.
with the gloves.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't want the revolutionaries to do anything like that. They're just like, I know like they could get stronger, but like save the spotlight for the Straw Hats.
I think Dragon and Sabo and Ivan. The thing is, Ivankov is supposed to be really strong.
Yeah, Ivankov is fine, but like, wait, Bello Betty though.
Ivankov doesn't have a bounty.
Let me check. I kind of skipped over Ivankov. No bounty.
Whoa, that's because Ivankov is known.
Ivankov was in prison too, so people are speculating that Ivankov has at least 100 million.
Oh, actually, I know what panel this is. It is 436. No, 536. 536, I believe, is where we get the names. Oh, we get the name. Yeah, it's 536. We get the name, but we don't get the bounty. I thought that the bounty was there too.
Nope.
But we do, yeah, like you said, at minimum, being on that level means 100 million, I think. So
yeah, there's a lot of crazy things in this chapter.
Damn, how did I manage to remember that? That's crazy.
I know you pull out like the most random chapters out of nowhere. Like, oh yeah, by the chapter Luffy used the bathroom on the Sunny Go. Yeah, chapter 522.
Yeah, that one shook me a little bit. I was like, wait a second, how did I remember this one?
Yeah,
I mean, I
like
made a video.
The Library of Ohara is hitting you hard right now.
Like because when I make that's how I like, because I write all my scripts from memory. and then I fact check it, and I usually don't need to do much, but sometimes like when I'm recording, something's off, like, and then I have to like super hard fact check. But when I do the things and I get all the panels, I have to go to every chapter and everything like that. So I committed to memory, but that one was so long ago. I'm like, that one scared me a little bit. I got
it's like muscle memory.
Yeah, like I got a shiver. I was like, that shouldn't have been that easy to remember.
Yeah, the ghost of Oda's talking to you.
Yeah, honestly, that one.
With that being said, thank you guys for coming in. And Par, do you want to shout yourself out before we end off here, or do you have any other like closing thoughts for this chapter?
I will say, okay, so closing thoughts of the chapter. Yeah. Actually, really quickly, I didn't even ask you. We talked a little bit with 1065, but 1065, yes or no on continuing law?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we're gonna see the finale, or at least the final attack.
And then the rest of the chapter. It might start out with the Straw Hats and end with law then.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
That's what I think.
And then even more than that, one step further, Kid Pirates. We're going to learn about them soon in similar fashion of law.
Ooh, that's a hard one. So I think that maybe not 1065, but 1066. I think we're going to go back to Wano.
Oh, Wano.
Yes.
Why Wano?
I have a theory out there that is very insane. I told you about it. It's the birthday theory.
Okay.
The birthday theory is that Oda is using each month to specify a specific character. Yeah. In August, we had Buggy with his birthday with the Cross Guild chapter. And then after August, we had September with the Boa chapter. And then this month, we had the Law chapter. And then in November, the most notable birthday early on in the month is Yamato. So I feel like in 1065 or 1066, we will get some Wano stuff going on. It's crazy. If it happens, you owe me an apology.
Wait, why do I owe you an apology?
You are a non-believer and you deserve to be executed.
I was just going to say there are a few more missing parts that are left that if we follow the trend, connecting them with Kid makes the most sense, right? Because something that we saw all the Blackbeard pirates except for Shiryu and Luffy, right? I think those two.
Yeah. Shiryu, Luffy, Vasco. We saw Vasco shot. San Juan Wolf is another one.
San Juan Wolf. So you take those Blackbeard pirates, maybe they're interacting with Kid right now. And then if we were to spice it up a little bit, because that's not spicy enough, having Kid just go against, like, Shiryu should be held in high regard. But, like, he shouldn't be held as, like the same way most people looked at Law versus Blackbeard and were like, Law loses. You know what I mean? Most people, initial reaction is that. It takes a crazy person like me to try and figure out all the ways that Law could survive. And in that light, I don't think like we should see Kid rolling up to Shiryu and being like, Kid loses. I don't think that should happen.
Oh, no
yeah,
way.
So to spice it up, maybe we send an admiral there. Maybe an admiral's on Kid's side.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I wonder for what reasons, though.
I'm fine with the Kid chapter, part. Next chapter, or like I said, Yamato's in the books. I'm calling it 1066. Expect Yamato. And either the Blackbeard Pirates, or, I'm going to say it right here, either the Blackbeard Pirates or Weevil.
Okay, Weevil. Weevil, you're right, Weevil. That's a big one. Then there's Drake and stuff we have to figure out about him. Trash. All right, fair. If 1066 should be at a time, if you're right, if Yamato shows up in the chapter, do we give you the cover story? Because I think originally when you talked about it, I was like, I could see cover story, because I think Return to Wano would be the next, or like Adventures on Wano would be the next cover story series, because what typically happens is we get the cover stories after the arc ends about the arc. So like Wano's story, and so Yamato could show up in the cover story. Do you believe that?
I will take either one, and if Yamato does show up in the cover story, I think it would be a really good way to bring in two things. We could have Yamato and the Scabbards discovering Pluton. We could have Yamato
in a cover story series?
Oh hell yeah! If we have
Pluton?
if we have them getting rubbings of the Poneglyph and kidnapping Pudding, then yeah, why not?
Yeah, but we didn't learn. Okay, like discovering Pluton, but we don't see it.
Yeah.
Okay,
like we see a box of like shock. They go underwater and they're like, whoa, you know, like, oh my god, and then we see a picture of a gun. I don't know. Like, okay. I'm cool with that, and then we cut off. All right. We could see that, or we could see something that hints that Big Mom and Kaido are around. I think those would be two really good things we could get out of the cover story. It starts goofy, it starts silly. I don't know. Yamato's teaching Momonosuke how to knit a sweater. I don't really care. But after a while, I think it will divulge into either Kaido and Big Mom hints or Pluton hints. Or, you know, like I said, Weevil or somebody else, Blackbeard, could show up and try to steal something.
Okay. All right, so I'll just give it to you. It should be at a time. If Yamato shows up, I'll drink with you that night.
Oh, thank you.
We'll do that. That's a celebration.
And I will drink right now. Any other closing thoughts you want to hit me with?
No, I think, yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to those chapters. It's just crazy how cool One Piece gets in such a different way. I feel like my brain feels like
explodes, bro.
It's like experiencing One Piece differently than it did at the beginning of the year. Because like in the raid, like it's such a different story, such a different setting. Like
it's nothing but fights, bro. Fight.
Yeah,
what's gonna happen?
Like for me, I get immersed, right? So like Game of Thrones, it's like entering that like realm of feeling of what they do, the traditions. We were just in 4 years of Wano, so Japan, like you know, the mountains, the Mount Fuji, volcanoes, like thinking about all of those things, and like going to Japan, for example, like that like vibe. But now we're in Vegapunk's world, and like the games and everything, it's like makes me like we're playing more Valorant now too. Like I don't know, it just feels like Oda's like
it's a different world, bro.
Our brain and making us like transition to a new like fun era.
It's nice to go to a new arc in One Piece. Yeah. That is for sure. Yeah, because you have the mystique, excited. You have the world building, and then once we get to the end of the arc is when I wouldn't say it gets predictable. Yeah. But it starts being streamlined, right? Like near the end of Wano, we know Luffy's going to fight Kaido. We know the matchups. Mm-hmm. We know what's going to happen. We know the events that need to be solved. Right. But right now in Egghead, it's like, what's going to happen? Like what's the next chapter? What's happening around the world? We don't know.
Right.
And that's the fun part about it.
It's exciting, but you know, we could talk about that. I think like it's crazy. Like every conversation we have keeps on getting like more fun. And like, it's like, how much can we? I keep like with my wife.
Can we get much higher?
Not just that, but like it's just like explaining like what like us talking on a video like every week about like a story. You know what I mean? And as long as we do, because like remember the deleted VOD that we never posted that was done at a friend's apartment, and they were like, because I did my reaction, then I hopped on your call, so it was like 4 hours of just like One Piece, and they're like off of one chapter.
They're like, bro, it's only 5 pages. Come on.
Yeah, like what is like? There's squiggles on the screen. How is he talking about it?
You have Japanese man drawing silly picture.
Yeah, and then here we are just talking about it and and it's a lot of fun. And hopefully the comments, everyone enjoys this. I think this one could possibly be going up in 2 parts. So check out part 1.
It'll be one part. It'll be one part. I'm kind of lazy.
All right, fair enough. But before that, you asked me if there's anything to shout out.
Yes.
And I think the main thing to shout out is you and I will be on a One Piece D&D on.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be doing
One Piece D&D.
That's gonna be fun. That's a first for you, right?
Yeah, never played D&D. It should be Tuesday. I don't know if there'll be a video or a live stream, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, so that's going to be exciting. And then Sai and I will also be on that same day doing that One Piece talk. So definitely go check out I've been on their channel a few times, but this is your first time interacting.
Yeah, my first showing. My first time stepping outside the bubble and talking to somebody else.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it'll be strange, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you had the Zone in the collab too, right?
Yeah, Zone in, BDA, and all that stuff. But let me tell you, that One Piece talk is a different beast.
Yeah, you're making your rounds, and now...
Yeah, never been on a podcast before.
Yeah, I mean, and so other than that, I just have a few. I think during the break weeks, I'm gonna be amping up the theories, but also, I think my TikToks are gonna start getting spicy. So if you guys aren't following me on TikTok and you have TikTok, definitely go check me out there. But yeah, other than that, thank you, Sai, for making this. This is such a fun tradition.
Yeah, it is. It is a good week to week. And the one thing I want to shout out is first up, if you want to follow me on YouTube, it is youtube.com/c/parvision. So if you want to sub to me there, that is where you would want to go. I know what you're thinking. When I go to Parvision's channel, it looks a little bit different. You look a little bit different, but that's just how it is. It's the lighting. It changes every now and then. It is what it is. And special thank you to all the patrons and channel subs. You guys are freaking awesome. And that is pretty much all I have to shout out. And we will see you guys in 2 weeks because, like he said, there is a break. So there is no content that's going to be posted here, minus this collab and maybe one more.
Yeah, I'm going to miss this 4 a.m. call next week.
Yeah, the super late. Yeah, nobody knows what time this call takes place.
Yeah,
but it is actually super, super late.
It's almost 5 a.m.
Yeah, I am like dying. I got to cook some dinner here in a minute. It's bad. But we do it for you guys, and we do it for the conversation. And if you made it to this point, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.